What's up, everybody? I'm Walter Benaziak.
I'm Heather Roos.
And I'm Aiyanna Wade.
And this is Top 5. Today, we're covering a director whose work is so unique, you could usually tell it's one of his movies within the first few seconds.
Oh, give me a hint.
Okay, Johnny Depp.
Oh,
Tim Burton. Tim Burton has one of the most prolific careers of any American director over the last 30 plus years.
From live action to animation and everything in between, Burton has created a distinct style that is often imitated but never duplicated.
Starting with his big screen debut, Pee-wee's Big Adventure in 1985, Burton has constantly been putting out films that change the game for one-of-a-kind storytelling and even technical achievements. Not every single movie he's directed has been a critical hit, but he's still been successful in creating films that capture people's imagination all over the world. He's even self-aware enough to push against his own conventions at times and make a few movies that are very different from the norm. Taking all these into account, which selections from his vast filmography are must-see?
These are the top 5 best Tim Burton movies.
Number 5. Edward Scissorhands. This film marks the first time Burton's muse, Johnny Depp, teamed up with him for a movie. Guys, I think they might have liked working together. When suburban saleswoman Peg discovers a young man with scissors for hands in the attic of an abandoned old mansion, she takes the gentle Edward to live with her and her family. Edward eventually falls for Peg's daughter, and after a while, the townspeople turn on him, citing his freakish hands and inability to distinguish right from wrong as the reasons for outcasting him. When I think of the classic Tim Burton look and feel, Edward Scissorhands is most of the time the first movie that comes into my mind. Burton's trademark design style is all over this film. From Edward's costume to the cinematography and look of the town, no one else could have made Edward Scissorhands. It has all those Burton-y Burtonisms that we loved about his movies, but well before some of those qualities were detrimental to a few of his later films. If you go back and watch it now, you can feel how personal this story is. It's like checking in on an old friend and reminds you why we like his work so much. Johnny Depp's understated performance as Edward is one of his absolute best. In fact, most of the performances in this movie are very good. The chemistry that Depp and Winona Ryder shared on screen was the heartbeat of the film and just felt very sincere. It's also often breathtakingly beautiful to look at. The contrast of the gothic and dark with the bright and chipper really makes this movie stand out from a cinematography perspective. It's just a really great and different movie. If you haven't seen it in a while, Edward Scissorhands is just waiting to be revisited.
Number 4. Beetlejuice. We've covered this before, but there's more than just Keaton's performance that makes this movie sing. It's showtime. Beetlejuice is a comedy horror movie about a recently deceased couple, Barbara and Adam Maitland, who are learning the ins and outs of their newfound death. When their home is sold to a new family, Adam and Barbara learn that they are tethered to the house and must scare away the family themselves. Lydia, the daughter of the new homeowners, is quite unusual and has a style I've envied for decades. She is capable of seeing the Maitlands and befriends them. After many failed attempts at haunting, Barbara and Adam summon Beetlejuice, a demon with a look to die for. Jack Skellington is quaking. Of course, this desperate action puts both living and deceased in danger. When the Maitlands are accidentally exorcised, Lydia makes a deal with Beetlejuice to save them. Unfortunately for her, the agreement she made was for a marriage to the deranged spirit to give him easier access to the world of the living. But all is worked out in an excitingly bizarre fashion. Chances are, if you've seen this movie, you vividly remember the ending. The dance to Jump in the Line with Lydia floating in the air is so amazingly unexpected and by far the most recognizable scene of the movie. It's a story that's not afraid to take unexpected turns and never takes itself too seriously. The world building is so incredibly playful and dark, and the designs are very reminiscent of Burton's earlier art. The black and white stripes, big eyes exaggerated with dark circles, and snake-like features. These are all things that when you see them, you immediately think of Tim Burton. His style is so recognizable throughout this film, including the light laughs juxtaposed with gothic morbidness. The romanticizing of a small town with quirky characters is also very on brand. In step with his other successful movies, the more normal, average characters are not the heroes of the story. Burton likes to focus on the strange oddballs of his worlds. The weirder, the more wonderful.
Number 3. Batman. A movie so great that we've covered it 3 times in the past 4 months on this show. And I'm the only one who hasn't covered it yet, so dibs! 1989's Batman achieved a feat that many at the time considered impossible, changing the public image of Batman from a campy kid's character to a dark, brooding detective. The vision that Burton accomplished with this movie has changed the superhero genre in ways that never could have been imagined 30 years ago. Looking back now, it seems crazy that the studio handed the Batman property over to Burton, as it was only his 3rd major motion picture, but it didn't carry the same weight and merchandising power it does now. I know the movie isn't perfect, and we could debate for hours about the merits of Batman versus its sequel, Batman Returns, but there's no denying the impact that this movie had. The plot of this movie is actually pretty straightforward. Bruce Wayne is an eccentric billionaire who fights crime as Batman after the tragic death of his parents. Meanwhile, gangster Jack Napier is double-crossed and set up on a scheme involving Axis chemicals. A fight breaks out, and Jack falls into a vat of chemicals, causing him to become Batman's arch-nemesis, the Joker. Toss in a love story with photographer Vicky Vale, and that's pretty much it. But because of the simplicity of the plot, the movie is more character-centric. Keaton gives a wonderful performance as Batman and Bruce Wayne.
I'm Batman.
Jack Nicholson really steals the show with his iconic performance as the Joker.
Jack is dead, my friend. You can call me Joker. And as you can see, I'm a lot happier.
Burton's unique design aesthetic also showcased Gotham City. He truly created a plausible world for all these fantasy characters to be living in. Gotham felt like a character in and of itself with the way that it was featured. In my opinion, that's an essential part of understanding and telling a Batman story. Burton was really able to find a perfect balance of dark and gritty, yet still colorful and funny, to breathe new life into a then-stale franchise, paving the way for influential films and series.
Number 2. Ed Wood. I've said it before and I will say it again, I love Ed Wood. Ed Wood doesn't exactly fit in as a Hollywood director. His strange personality and eccentric script ideas make him an outsider. However, a chance meeting with former Dracula, Bela Lugosi, starts to change all that. With a team of misfits at his side, Ed manages to create an oddly appealing string of super low-budget movies. This is my personal favorite Tim Burton movie, and in my opinion, it is by far and away his best film. The others we've covered here are truly great movies, but I think they all pale in comparison to the weird, eccentric charm and genuine heart of Ed Wood. The performances drive this story, and they are incredible. Way back in 2016, I ranked this as Johnny Depp's best role, and he's unbelievably likable as this bizarre creative force. His interactions with the late Martin Landau's Bela Lugosi are so special to behold. Landau won the Best Supporting Actor in 1995 for this performance, and it was well-deserved. Let's also not forget about Bill Murray's strange and wonderful turn as John Breckinridge.
Do you reject Satan and all his evils?
Sure.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Putting the performances aside, the look of Ed Wood in beautiful black and white fits the tone perfectly. It has plenty of signature Burton aspects to it, but not to where it's distracting. The film won another Oscar for Best Makeup, so the design of these characters were also fantastic. The way Burton twists the real Ed Wood's life into this fantastical telling is appropriate considering who Ed Wood was in real life. The director of the quote-unquote best worst movie of all time, Plan 9 from Outer Space, went through many challenges to make his films, no matter the quality. Well, I guess it's the second best worst movie of all time now. The point is, Ed Wood is Burton, Depp, Landau, and many more at their best. You owe it to yourself to see this one ASAP.
And the number 1 best Tim Burton movie is Big Fish. This movie has all of the classic Tim Burton quirks. We've got misfits, magic, bright colors, a circus, Helena Bonham Carter. Based on the book of the same name, Big Fish follows Edward Bloom, a salesman who loves to tell tall tales. As he is unwell and nearing the end of his life, his son Will and pregnant daughter-in-law Josephine visit to reconcile Ed and Will's relationship. We see Edward's younger days through flashbacks, and these larger-than-life stories become real. Nothing slows down the charismatic young man. He befriends a giant, saves a town, joins a circus, and even works for a werewolf. One of the most beautiful stories is how Edward meets his wife. He falls head over heels for a young woman at the circus and works tirelessly for the ringmaster to learn clues about her. When he finally learns her identity and tracks her down, she's already married to a jerk from his hometown. I don't want to give away too much of the romance, so you'll just have to watch the movie and see how it all unfolds. As Will continually tries to reconnect with his estranged father, he becomes obsessed with catching him in a lie. Will travels to the town Ed claimed to have saved, where he meets Jenny, Ed's possibly not-so-former flame. The father and son's relationship is strained. While one wants to share his memories, the other only wants to hear the truth. But can memories ever be the full truth? This movie truly has everything you could want. It's smart and sweet, but still has moments of intrigue, while the end is heartbreakingly perfect. Of course, Danny Elfman returns to score the film as well. Burton has a wonderful way of making you sympathize with unlikely heroes. His use of color is so distinguishable and integral to his storytelling that so many moments from this movie are instantly recognizable. Any screenshot could be an illustration plucked from a Gothic children's book. There's a charisma to every character, while each storyline is carefully woven together. I couldn't imagine any other director's aesthetic being paired so perfectly with this beautiful story. We want to hear what you guys think. What's your favorite Tim Burton movie?
What do you want to see us cover next on the show? Leave a comment and let us know.
To keep in touch, you can like my Facebook page or follow along on Twitter.
You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or subscribe to my animated movie review series right here on YouTube.
And you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, or Twitch, where I stream on Wednesday nights.
We'll be back right here next week with the worst of Tim Burton on a brand new episode of Top 5.
Hey, I just needed to know why the we didn't have Nightmare Before Christmas on our top 5 Tim Burton list. I mean, classic.
Aiyanna, it wasn't directed by him.
Look at the poster. It says Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas.
I mean, yeah, he was heavily involved in it, but, he didn't actually direct it himself.
Right, story by, characters by, executive producer, but he did not direct the movie, so it doesn't count.